All right, folks, we're here. We made this video early. Technology can be a real mofo some days. It's like about 1 out of 20 videos just never shows up in Skype, which is super annoying. So hopefully we can be quick and concise on this. Before we get into actual who we're looking at tonight, I just want to recommend to everybody that you get some money in an overlay. And
I'm at shop already tonight.
Are you? Okay, I'm waiting on the plays to come out for offense, and we'll go through them. Who do you like here, Snell -6 or Gonsolin +6?
I already bet it Snell -5, so I bet
Yeah.
I mean, I like Snell a lot. Gonsolin, we don't even know how long he's going to go. But even if he was going to go a full game, I still think Snell outscores him by 5+ here, 6+, if you will.
I liked it a lot at 5. I like it less at 6, but
sure.
I will say what I said before. I'd still take Snell over Gonsolin. The only real concern you have right here is that Snell just doesn't get the strikeouts, which happens sometimes. I like a lefty versus the Dodgers. I'm going to bet Snell. I actually think I'm going to hold off and wait for the line to move. If it goes up to 7, I'm just going to bounce for the night. But if it moves back down at all, I feel like I'm going to pounce. And honestly, I'll tell you guys the same thing I said about Kershaw over Glasnow yesterday. It probably doesn't even really matter. It just gives me the warm and fuzzies to bet it that way.
Of course, it probably doesn't matter. But did you ever see the line at 5?
Yes, I did. I made a video about it, and I wanted it, and I was gonna talk about it, and in the time talking about it, it moved to 6, and I was like, rat farts.
Yeah, that sucks. So it's always harder to get down on it when it's moved like that. So I'm with you 100%.
You know, I talked about it earlier today. I loved Carson Wentz at -2 against Daniel Jones. I still like it at -4, but I'm not going to add money onto the 80 or 75 bucks I put onto it already.
For shizzle.
So, all right, guys. As far as the game goes tonight, it's different than last night in the sense that Blake Snell is the only true starting pitcher to get like real run tonight. Gonsolin is the starter, but he is very expensive. And I mean, he could go up to 3, maybe if he's pitching great 4, but he might also only pitch 1 or 2.
Yeah, for sure. So he's in play because it's a showdown slate and he's a starting pitcher, but he's not a guy you have to force in by any means.
No, and realistically, this isn't one of those things where like he might go deeper if he's pitching well. Dude pitched 3 days ago. He pitched on the 18th. It is now the 21st. He had 2 days off. That is not enough to be a full go. He just ain't happening.
No. Yeah, he's going like 3-4 max. So
max if he's pitching well.
Yeah, like I predict around 2.
2 would be my guess. Like if I was a sports book taking bets on this, the over/under would be 2 innings for me. So we see that 100% eye to eye.
Yeah, so he's still in play only because it's a showdown slate, and he'll still outscore, assuming he has a clean 2 innings or 3 innings, whatever it is. He'll still
at least, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he'll still outscore most of the hitters, but it's a lot riskier because like if he gets into trouble in the first inning, they can pull him right away.
And he's pricey.
Yeah.
So like it really, really messes with your salary cap. And the other thing I would say is there aren't a lot of times where you would look at him and Mookie Betts at basically the same price and think like the offensive guy's a safer play for points. But if I asked you, if it was a matchup shop question on overlay right now, would you go Betts or Gonsolin? And it was straight up, I would bet on Betts.
I would bet on Gonsolin.
Ooh, I like that. You got a better floor probably.
Yeah, he does have a better floor. And listen, I mean, it's tough because all of a sudden, like 1 home run by Betts, he can't come. He probably has no chance of beating that. So I get it for sure.
A single and a stolen base, and you saw him aggressive last night. He has 4 career stolen bases against Blake Snell, and that's probably enough to win, though, too.
Yeah, potentially, for sure.
All right. Now that you've had a couple hours to think about it since we made the original video that didn't show up, is Blake Snell your captain?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay, he's definitely going to be mine. I don't expect a 25, 30-point game from him here. 15, 20. He's a good lefty pitcher against a team that's really good, but is not as good against lefties. I don't expect it to be dominant, but I would bet good money that he's a top 2 or 3 scorer on this slate, if not the highest.
Agreed.
Yeah, somebody might dong and double, but that's about it, right?
I would take him over the field for sure.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. After that, as far as the Dodgers go, we've talked this one out. We agree. On paper, Betts is the best play. Righty-lefty matchup, decent career numbers off Blake Snell. Very good, very good baseball player. But you love the idea of pivoting to Corey Seager.
I think Seager comes in like half the ownership, something like that.
Ooh, you want to know what? I'm going to say something I think you'll like. I think it's less than half.
Yeah, so there you go. Makes me like it even more.
Because I think Snell's going to be very popular at the captain spot for all the obvious reasons. And then once you play Betts, like you can't really play Seager. And I think almost everybody will choose Betts over Seager. I think it could be like 4-1.
Okay, well, I mean, I love that then because Seager's also really freaking good.
Yeah, and he's not like a scrub against lefties or anything like that.
Nah, he walked
And,
3 times yesterday.
yeah, and actually, if I remember correctly, at least for much of his career, Betts was better against righties.
Definitely, he's had that for sure. He's really good against everyone, but yes,
He's a top 5 baseball player.
yeah. So yeah, he's really good against everyone, but you're right. We like him slightly better against righties.
And this is the way we like to break it down mathematically. And this is where I think, like, for the math nerds like me who, like to stat it up on stuff like this, we both agree Betts is the better play. No doubt about it. You agree with that. We seem to be a little bit different on how we think the ownership is going to play out. We'll see how it does. We don't really know that. But this is a spot where you're hoping I'm right, and it is 4-1.
Yeah.
Do you think Corey Seager is like only 20% likely to outscore Mookie Betts? Because you shouldn't.
Not at all. I mean, it's much closer than I think even anyone would expect. So yeah, much higher than 20.
Okay, and I'm going to break this down again. I know Mookie Betts is an elite baseball player, but Corey Seager averages more DK points. Now, it's only 0.1, but I think the point is here it's a tie.
I mean, yeah, Seager just won the NLCS MVP award.
Yeah, exactly. And we both know that Blake Snell, while being a pretty good pitcher, you mentioned it on the original video,
yes,
has to eat up a lot of innings. Dude could be out of here by the 4th. The Dodgers are patient. They'll take their walks. Like, I do not expect Blake Snell to pitch more than 5 innings.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I would be surprised if he pitched more than 6. Maybe I have a slightly more confidence in him, but you're right. He throws the most amount of pitches per at-bat than anyone in baseball. And against this lineup, that's a problem. I mean,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last 10 starts has not even gone 6 once.
that's surprising.
So that gets into something that you talk about a lot, which is at bats against the bullpen, which is where you take a Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, Max Muncy, etc., and get them at significantly lower ownership than Mookie Betts.
For sure. No doubt about it.
Okay. So after you put Snell in there, I do think if you're playing cash games, though, the right move is to grab yourself Mookie Betts because he is really, really good, as we mentioned already. And then kind of build around there. We'll have to wait out lineups a little bit. We don't know. We were trying to wait it out a little bit this afternoon to see if we could at least get one. It didn't come to fruition. Nothing we can do about that now. But then you're going to get into your, like, Kiki Hernandez, guys. Don't be surprised if he only hits once.
Yeah, agreed. There's just a lot. Both these teams, we mentioned it a bunch of times on the original video. Both these teams pinch hit more than anyone else in baseball. The only other team when I was thinking about this, the pinch hits like these teams, Cincinnati. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you right there. So, again, you've got to be a little bit off your rocker and a little bit ballsy, man. But like Jock Peterson, who won't start tonight, has a good chance to get 1 or 2 later at bats. Last night you mentioned that Kiki Hernandez was in somebody's lineup and beat Jock Peterson. That's the reason they rocked with like 100K or something.
Yeah, exactly. They took down the big 100K first to solo shipped it that big tournament, and they had Kiki Hernandez in there. And listen, his 5 points outscored a lot of hitters on that state.
And the solo ship is a big deal. What we mean by that, if that doesn't make sense to you guys, is winning it outright. Because when you tie with 100 people and you got to split, 10 grand 100 different ways, it's bupkis. It means shit.
Yeah, it's awful.
So I know the lineup I used last night, I played one small cash lineup. And I captained Clayton Kershaw, as we had discussed. Played Tyler Glasnow, who wasn't great, but was still better than most hitters that were going. And then I played a bunch of chalky hitters. Both Renfroe, who I assumed would be, and Jock Peterson got punch hit for. Could have used a single from them, would have cashed with that. So be cognizant of that. We know who might get pinch hit for, and we know who's not. You can make your best guesses. Chris Taylor, no. Kiki Hernandez, probably.
Yes, agreed.
So we'll wait out lineups. We expect Austin Meadows to be near the top of the lineup and him probably to get a lot of love because even though he had a bad year this year. There's no arguments about it. He was terrible. A 6.18 OPS is bad. But he's still going to get love on top of that lineup. Why not pivot to like a Willy Adames for the same price, basically? Lower in the lineup. Been a better hitter this year. We don't think he is better, but he's been better this year at a fraction of the ownership in GPPs.
Yeah, I love that call. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for sure.
I think you'll see Manuel Margot is very chalky, assuming he's batting, 5-hole or something like that again.
Yeah, agreed.
If he's leading off, he'll be big, big chalk. But, the Rays are all over the place with their lineup. And the Rays cannot view this one as a spot where they're just going against a righty because neither one of us know. It could be Urias after him. It could be Dustin May. It could be both.
No doubt about that.
So if you're guessing on who it is, we don't have a good answer for you. I'm sure you've been looking all day because, well, I know you are. We don't know who's coming in after Gonsolin. It's possible the manager isn't 100% now.
Yeah, we talked about Urias and May being two logical guys. They're expensive though,
and pitched recently.
And they both pitched recently. So they both pitched in the same game. So you obviously, take some risk that one of them doesn't pitch. And the other thing is they have another bullpen game 4, because Buehler's going 3, and then another bullpen game 4.
I know you like Corey Seager. I'm going to throw out Cody Bellinger into the mix as well. So this is a guy who has had playoff struggles, right? They talked about his 2 World Series appearances last night, that his batting average in one of them was 120, and the other one it was 63. He's coming off of a big Game 7, couple of walks and a home run, hit a nice home run last night. He's another guy with major upside who maybe got that World Series monkey off his back last night and is probably feeling himself pretty good today. So I think he's also, just like Corey Seager, an intriguing GPP pivot, because once the chalk in the field go heavy Mookie Betts, these guys all become really hard to afford.
Exactly. I'm with you.
Now, the other thing that we haven't brought up, and it's difficult to do, even though you want to play Blake Snell, do you not still find the Dodgers bats more desirable because they're just a lot better?
So it's interesting. So the Dodgers bats are more desirable in that regard, but the Tampa Bay bats are really cheap.
Yes.
Yes and yes. It's weird all over. I don't think that the Dodgers good bats get that much love because they're too expensive. You can only roster one of them with Snell, right?
Right. So I think an alternative build might be grab one of these mid-tier hitters. Just go Pollock, right? Whatever it might be. You put him in there, grab Betts if you want him, and then you grab Blake Snell. Ooh, you're still going to struggle to get another good hitter, even if it's Justin Turner. This is going to put you with Kiermaier and probably nobody else. So this is even going to be difficult to do. You're going to have to go down further on the captain position than AJ Pollock in order to double up on Dodger studs. So maybe it would be Kevin Kiermaier.
I think that gets love tonight, unfortunately, because of last night, but it still makes some sense if you really want to stud up.
You do. So maybe go with Margot then. You can still play Blake Snell and grab Betts, and then you can grab, let's say, Bellinger or Turner. I know you like Turner as well.
Yeah.
You could still fit Seager, too, if you wanted him, but this will allow you to double up. Now, I don't like this myself, and definitely not for a cash game, but if Margot has a good game or whoever you choose to put up there, now I got Betts and Bellinger and Snell, which is a little bit of an alternative build. And you could still get AJ Pollock right here and go down to Kevin Kiermaier.
Sure.
So there's that. But ultimately, I'm 100% using Snell for cash games in the captain spot. You sound like you're about 95% sure.
Because you're just guessing, in my opinion, not. Right? You could literally put any hitter in there and it could work out. And there will probably be a couple guys that work out that way, but it's just guessing.
You sound like you're pretty confident Snell will get more than 10 points today.
Yeah, I like Snell in this spot to at least pitch decent.
I'm with you. I would bet him over 10 points today. Most hitters won't get over 10. A couple of them might, but if you're trying to win a GPP, I get trying to take shots with guys in the field. But if you're just trying to get into the money, if Blake Snell pitches really well and you don't captain him, you're pretty much shit out of luck unless you get a guy who homers.
I mean, even yesterday, I feel like all I had was Kershaw and captain spot, and I wasn't even that far away from cashing.
Right, that's all I had was Kershaw in the captain spot, and then I had one single and a run out of Manuel Margot, and that's about it. And in cash games, I was 2 points out of the money.
I had Pedro Baez pitch 1 inning and no strikeouts, just 1 inning, and I was not close to cashing, but I wasn't towards the back. I was you know what I mean, in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I still needed to jump 50 lineups because everybody has the same ones.
Right.
But it only took a couple points.
But one single, you know what I mean, changes so much on a showdown slate.
Yep. And again, if you're playing cash games too, try to avoid the guys getting pinch hit for. I mean, I lose 3-4 at bats last night with both Hunter Renfroe and Jock Peterson, who I didn't even want to roster, but once you captain Kershaw and put in Glasnow, there just wasn't a lot of options for how to build.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also figured Hunter Renfroe would be chalky, and if he hit a home run, which he's capable of doing, I'd lose. But I regretted it after submitting it. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Unfortunate.
Another guy, I liked the look of Joey Wendell's at bats last night, including the double. But I thought for how well Kershaw was pitching, I thought Wendell looked very competent out there. Not that he hit the ball hard all over the place, but Kershaw was dealing, and he definitely looked relatively laser focused.
I like that a lot. I mean, I think he's a guy that goes a little bit under the radar too, because he's one of the more expensive Tampa players.
Right? And he's like not expensive, but he's more expensive than Zunino, Choi, Lowe, Renfroe, Adames, Meadows. But not like a lot. Like you can still build a roster with him, but that $400 between him and Choi is going to affect his ownership.
Yeah, people just will prefer like the power, like Choi, in my opinion, hitting in the middle of the lineup. Wendell will be a couple spots down. Yeah, I'm a Wendell fan, so I'm about it.
Yeah, he's very capable of swiping a bag too. He's not a base stealer like Mookie Betts or something like that, but he's capable of stealing a base.
Sure.
So, and I feel like the guy that we keep not bringing up is a Rosarina.
Yeah, I know. I think that his ownership is like, because you have to pick like him or the Dodgers studs.
Yeah. And with the recency bias of Mookie Betts last night, it is difficult not to look at him because he's also a Rosarina has been like the best player in the playoffs, but nobody's going to, in the right mind, is going to tell you he's better than Mookie Betts.
Oh, yeah, of course not. I mean, we don't even know if he's better than okay, this is a good question. Do you think that he's better than Austin Meadows?
It's a tough question. Yeah, that's a real tough question because Meadows was really good to start last year, but he hasn't been that good since then. He's been terrible this year.
Yeah, this is true.
I mean, Austin Meadows has been worse than just a guy this year. He's been a well below average baseball player.
For sure.
That 618 OPS, that is like backup catcher Jeff Mathis type of numbers.
That's pretty shitty. Okay, another question. Who do you think gets more ownership here? Arozarena or Seager?
Arozarena.
I agree because he's like the one Tampa stud up there.
He's less money. He's the only Tampa Bay bat that like you really desire, right? Like this guy's good. And there's a lefty on lefty, which again, you can only play so many cheap guys or expensive guys. Like I think the ownership up top with the three specific studs of a Rosarina, Seager, and Betts goes Betts, a Rosarina, Seager. And I think Seager's under 20% tonight.
What about Muncy?
Also very low. Because how do you play Muncy over Bellinger right below him? Or Turner?
And I think that eats into Bellinger's ownership too, because of the platoon. Like Turner's very desirable. I think Turner gets more love than Muncy or Bellinger.
Agreed. He's a righty against the lefty, and he's less money. I agree with you 100%. Will Smith, same thing. Will Smith is very affordable in the middle of that lineup.
And he's good too.
Yeah. I mean, he's had a hit in 4 straight games. He hasn't done anything amazing other than that home run, but he's a good hitter in the middle of a good lineup.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, he may look 12, but he's not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then you got AJ. Yeah, interesting slate. Fun slate.
Nope, nothing new. I thought maybe we might get a lineup, but nope, these are both from last night. So that's what we got today for you guys. Best of luck.
Thanks, guys.